Welcome, curious kids and future space explorers, to Spark Science Adventures. I'm your host, and, well, as an actual aerospace engineer, I literally spend my days figuring out how to build giant machines that can safely leave our planet. Today's mission? Oh, it's a good one. We're going to dive into the absolute coolest science behind rockets and figure out how they actually manage to travel completely out of this world. Have you ever just looked up at the sky, or maybe watched a launch on TV, and wondered how on earth does a massive, incredibly heavy rocket actually blast off the launch pad and fly all the way into space? I mean, it's so huge and loud, it kind of looks like magic, right? But as we like to say in the engineering world, it's actually just pure science. And today, we are going to learn exactly how to think like real rocket engineers. Part 1. What is a rocket? Getting ready for space. To help us figure this out, I brought along my trusty co-engineer, Milo the Pencil. Let's think about airplanes versus rockets for a second. The main difference? It's how they fly. See, airplanes use their wings to push against the air around them. But out in space, it is a total vacuum. There's absolutely no air up there. So rockets literally have to pack their own bags. They carry everything they need for the entire trip, including their own fuel and their own oxygen, just so they can actually burn that fuel. Which brings us to part 2, the big push, thrust, how to go up. So in engineering, we use a very specific scientific word for this lifting power. We call it thrust. Basically, thrust is the upward push that happens when burning rocket fuel shoots hot gases out of the bottom of the engine at just incredible speeds. It's a trade-off, really. As those super fast gases shoot violently down toward the ground, the entire rocket gets pushed straight up toward the stars. Think about blowing up a balloon. You fill it with air, you pinch the end, right? But what happens the second you let it go? Whoosh! The air rushes out one way and the balloon zooms wildly in the exact opposite direction. Well, rockets work in a very similar way, just, a million times more powerfully. To really get why the balloon and the rocket do this, we have to look back at history. A super famous scientist named Isaac Newton figured out a rule of physics that is basically absolute law for us rocket scientists. He said, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Pushing that hot gas down out of the engine, that's the action. The giant rocket launching up into the sky, well, that is the spectacular reaction. Moving on to part 3, fighting Earth's gravity, beating the boss level. Earth's gravity is basically like a giant, invisible force field, and it pulls hard. To escape it, a rocket needs an unbelievable amount of power. In fact, most of a rocket's weight is actually just fuel. Picture a giant soda bottle, but instead of soda, it is almost entirely filled with highly explosive rocket fuel, and there's just a tiny little spacecraft sitting way up on the very top. That's exactly what it takes to beat gravity. All right, junior engineers, part 4, countdown and LIFTOFF. 3, 2, 1. Put on your mission control headsets because here is the step-by-step liftoff sequence. Step 1, the engines ignite with a massive spark. Step 2, the fuel burns rapidly, building up immense pressure inside the engine. Step 3, those super hot gases blast downward out of the nozzles. And finally, step 4, the rocket slowly rises, fighting gravity, and then speeds up faster and faster until it's going thousands of kilometers per hour. Next up, part 5, cruising in space, rocket stages. Here's a secret. Real space rockets don't actually stay as one giant piece the whole time. They're built in different stacked sections, which we engineers call stages. It's an incredibly clever process. Step 1, one stage completely runs out of fuel. Step 2, instead of carrying that useless dead weight, the empty section just separates and falls away back toward Earth. Step 3, the engine on the next stage ignites to continue pushing the rocket even higher. Why do we do it this way? Well, imagine trying to run a really fast race while wearing a super heavy backpack full of rocks. You'd get tired so fast, right? But what if, halfway through the race, you could just drop the backpack? You'd suddenly feel super light and run way faster. Shedding those empty fuel stages makes the rocket lighter, meaning it needs way less fuel to keep flying at top speed. Okay, so we're zooming through space now. We've dropped our extra weight. But wait, here is a question that actually stumps a lot of people, even adults. Can rockets really work in the completely empty vacuum of space without any air around them? The answer is a massive, enthusiastic yes. A lot of people mistakenly think a rocket needs air outside to push off of, kind of like a swimmer kicking off the wall of a pool, but they don't. Remember Isaac Newton's law? Thrust only cares about the gas shooting out from the engines. As long as gas shoots out one way, the rocket is going to move the other way. It works absolutely perfectly, even in the total silent emptiness of space. All right, pop quiz time. Let's test your new aerospace knowledge. What is the force that pushes a rocket upward? Is it A, gravity, B, thrust, or C, rain? Think about those hot gases and our balloon analogy for just a second. And the answer is B, thrust. Awesome job. Thrust is that magical upward push created by the downward blast of the engines. If you got that right, you are officially thinking exactly like a real rocket scientist. Before we wrap up today's mission, let's fire off some truly amazing fun rocket facts. Did you know the first person to ever walk on the moon traveled all the way there on a massive rocket? Or that some of the rockets we build today are literally taller than a 30-story skyscraper? It's wild. And to stay up in orbit, they have to travel insanely fast, over 28,000 kilometers per hour. Oh, and the absolute coolest part of modern engineering? A lot of rockets today can actually land themselves back on Earth so we can reuse them for another adventure. So look at everything we discovered today. We learned how burning fuel creates that all-important thrust, how we use staging to drop useless weight, and how Isaac Newton's brilliant laws let us fly through the deep vacuum of space. As we wrap up this Spark Science Adventures, I want to leave you with one final thought to really spark your imagination. If you could build and ride your very own rocket anywhere in space, where would your mission take you? Would you check out the craters on the moon, the red dust of Mars, or maybe explore a completely undiscovered planet? Keep dreaming big, keep asking those great questions, and I'll see you on our next adventure.